History is filled with mysteries, but few are as captivating and elusive as the fate of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Who were they? Where did they go? And could there be remnants of these ancient peoples still living among us today? These questions have fascinated scholars, explorers, and theologians for centuries. In today's video, we're taking you on a journey through time and across continents, uncovering the fascinating stories and enigmatic clues that link diverse communities around the world to the lost tribes of Israel. From Africa to Asia, from the Middle East to the Americas, we'll explore the traditions, beliefs, and prophecies that suggest that the lost tribes may not be lost after all. To understand the story of the lost tribes, we need to start with the history of ancient Israel. After the death of King Solomon, around 930 BC, the kingdom of Israel split into two: the northern kingdom, consisting of 10 tribes, and the southern kingdom, made up of Judah and Benjamin. The northern kingdom, which retained the name Israel, included tribes such as Reuben, Dan, Naphtali, and others. Meanwhile, the southern kingdom was known as Judah, and it continued to carry the line of David and Solomon. The 10 tribes of the northern kingdom were powerful, yet their prosperity didn't last. The kingdom turned to idolatry, violating their covenant with God, which led to its downfall. In 722 BC, the mighty Assyrian Empire, under King Sargon II, swept down upon the northern kingdom, capturing its cities and scattering its people across the empire. The inhabitants were exiled, taken to far-off lands, and soon they vanished from the historical record. Thus began the legend of the lost tribes of Israel. The Bible and other ancient texts give us glimpses into the fate of these tribes, but concrete evidence is scarce. Were they assimilated into other nations, losing their identity forever? Or did they continue to survive in remote regions, preserving their ancient customs and traditions? While some historians argue that the tribes were entirely absorbed, countless traditions and historical accounts from different parts of the world suggest otherwise. The Bible is filled with prophecies that speak about the regathering of Israel. In the book of Ezekiel, we find the powerful vision of the Valley of Dry Bones, where God breathes life into the scattered tribes, reuniting them with Judah. This imagery suggests a restoration that goes beyond just the physical return to the land. It's a spiritual revival as well. Isaiah also speaks about a second regathering, a time when God will bring his people back from the four corners of the earth. Many see this prophecy as extending beyond the Babylonian exile, indicating a future global return that would include the lost tribes. Even the New Testament's book of Revelation refers to the sealing of 144,000 individuals from the 12 tribes during the end times, suggesting that the lost tribes still hold a place in the unfolding of God's plan for humanity. But who are these tribes today? Could some of them have survived in the most unlikely of places, preserving their identity and customs for over 2 millennia? Let's explore some of the most intriguing claims by modern-day communities that assert descent from the lost tribes. Their stories are as diverse as they are compelling, with each one providing a unique piece of the puzzle. The Beta Israel, or Ethiopian Jews, claim to be descendants of the tribe of Dan. Their presence in Ethiopia dates back thousands of years, with traditions that mirror those of ancient Israel, including strict observance of the Sabbath, circumcision, and dietary laws. Their oral history tells of a migration from Israel to Ethiopia, possibly during the time of the First Temple's destruction or even earlier. For centuries, the Beta Israel were isolated from mainstream Judaism, yet their dedication to their faith and traditions never wavered. When the modern state of Israel was established, the Beta Israel's connection to Judaism gained international attention. In 1975, the Israeli government recognized the Beta Israel as part of the Jewish people under the Law of Return, paving the way for large-scale immigration to Israel. In the late 20th century, dramatic rescue missions known as Operation Moses and Operation Solomon brought thousands of Ethiopian Jews to their ancestral homeland. These events were seen by many as the fulfillment of biblical prophecies about the gathering of Israel's exiles. In Western India, the Bene Israel community traces its roots to the tribe of Ephraim. According to their oral traditions, their ancestors were shipwrecked off the Indian coast over 2 millennia ago, possibly during the Assyrian exile, and formed a small Jewish community in the region. Despite centuries of isolation from the Jewish mainstream, the Bene Israel preserved core elements of Jewish practice, such as circumcision and Sabbath observance. Some even served in the armies of local Indian rulers. In the 20th century, with increased awareness of their Jewish heritage, many Bene Israel made Aliyah, immigration to Israel, reconnecting with their ancient lineage. Could the lost tribes of Israel be hiding in plain sight among the Pashtun tribes of Afghanistan and Pakistan? The Pashtuns, also known as Pathans, have long maintained that they are the Bani Israel, or children of Israel. Their customs, such as the practice of circumcision, strict adherence to tribal codes, and even some dietary laws, bear striking similarities to ancient Israelite traditions. Some of their tribal names, like Rabbani and Levani, appear to echo the names of Israelite tribes. The Pashtuns number in the tens of millions, and while their claim to Israelite heritage is a subject of ongoing debate, it adds a fascinating dimension to the story of the lost tribes. The Igbo people of Nigeria have long claimed to be descendants of Gad and Zebulun, two of the lost tribes. Some of their cultural practices resemble those of Judaism, including circumcision on the 8th day, observing certain dietary restrictions, and even celebrating Jewish festivals. Their oral traditions tell of their ancestors' journey from Israel through North Africa, eventually settling in West Africa. Although not widely recognized as Jews by the global Jewish community, there has been a growing movement among the Igbo to reconnect with their Jewish roots. Some have formally converted to mainstream Judaism, while others have immigrated to Israel, seeking to reunite with the broader Jewish people. The Lemba people of Zimbabwe and South Africa present one of the most intriguing cases of a lost tribe connection. According to their oral traditions, the Lemba are descendants of the tribe of Levi, the priestly line of Israel. They maintain various customs consistent with Jewish law, including dietary practices akin to kosher laws and ritual circumcision. Recent genetic studies have added credibility to their claims, showing that a significant portion of the Lemba carry a genetic marker associated with the priestly line of Aaron. This discovery suggests that the Lemba's oral traditions about their Israelite ancestry may indeed hold historical validity. As we've seen, the search for the lost tribes of Israel spans across continents and cultures. Yet some researchers believe that even more clues lie hidden in other parts of the world. In Japan, some traditions and folklore bear curious similarities to ancient Israelite practices. In Native American tribes, legends of a great migration and the presence of customs like purification rituals and sacred feasts have led some to draw speculative connections to the lost tribes. In Central Asia, historical accounts from medieval travelers, such as Benjamin of Tudela, suggest the existence of Jewish communities claiming descent from the northern tribes. Even today, groups in Kurdistan, Burma, and the Americas have emerged with oral histories that they believe connect them to the ancient Israelites. Could these scattered peoples be remnants of the lost tribes, still holding on to fragments of their heritage after millennia of separation? While some of these claims are met with skepticism, they keep the mystery alive and inspire ongoing exploration. To separate fact from legend, modern science has begun to play a crucial role in investigating the origins of these communities. Genetic research, in particular, has offered fascinating insights. For example, the discovery of the Cohen modal haplotype, a genetic marker associated with the priestly line of Aaron, among the Lemba people, has given significant credence to their claims. Similarly, studies on the Beta Israel revealed genetic links to other Jewish communities, suggesting that their traditions are not merely a result of cultural adoption, but are deeply rooted in shared ancestry. Anthropological research adds another layer to the puzzle. For instance, the survival of ancient Israelite customs, such as circumcision and dietary laws, among various isolated groups around the world, raises questions about how these practices could have persisted across time and geography. Some researchers propose that these cultural practices may be evidence of common roots dating back to the time of the Assyrian exile. The story of the lost tribes is not just a historical mystery, it's also a matter of spiritual and prophetic significance. Many biblical prophecies speak of the future reunification of all the tribes of Israel. For instance, the prophet Jeremiah speaks of a time when God will bring back the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, indicating a restoration of all 12 tribes. According to Jewish and Christian eschatology, this reunification is considered a key event in the end times, often associated with the coming of the Messiah. The belief is that the return of the lost tribes will herald a new era of global peace and spiritual awakening. Some see the modern-day return of groups like the Beta Israel to the land of Israel as the beginning of this prophetic fulfillment. In the New Testament's book of Revelation, the sealing of 144,000 individuals from the 12 tribes serves as a powerful reminder that the lost tribes are not forgotten in God's plan for humanity. Whether taken literally or symbolically, this passage reinforces the idea that the tribes play a central role in the unfolding of end-time events. Not everyone is convinced by the claims of modern groups that assert descent from the lost tribes. Many historians and biblical scholars argue that the tribes were likely assimilated into other cultures after the Assyrian exile, and that their identities were gradually lost. They point to a lack of direct evidence linking these communities to ancient Israel, noting that similarities in customs could be the result of cultural exchange rather than direct descent. Furthermore, some genetic studies have produced conflicting results, making it difficult to draw definitive conclusions about the origins of certain groups. For example, while some findings support the Lemba's claim to a priestly lineage, other genetic data suggest a more complex ancestral background, incorporating influences from various regions. This raises questions about whether the Lemba's Israelite traditions were passed down through cultural transmission rather than by direct bloodline descent. Nonetheless, even among skeptics, there is a recognition that the persistence of these traditions across centuries and continents is a phenomenon worth investigating. Display cultural artifacts, songs, dances, and festivals connected to the groups claiming Israelite descent. Beyond the question of historical accuracy, the stories of the lost tribes have left a deep cultural and spiritual imprint on the communities that identify with them. For these groups, the belief in Israelite ancestry is not just about lineage, it's a matter of identity, spiritual heritage, and cultural pride. It shapes their religious practices, community life, and even their aspirations for the future. For example, the Beta Israel's journey from Ethiopia to Israel is more than a historical migration. It's a story of redemption and fulfillment. For the Igbo Jews, the connection to ancient Israel serves as a rallying point for cultural unity and spiritual revival in the face of Nigeria's diverse religious landscape. For the Pashtun tribes, the claim to Israelite heritage is interwoven with their warrior traditions and tribal laws, adding layers of meaning to their cultural identity. These narratives have also found their way into popular culture and literature, inspiring novels, films, and documentaries. The lost tribes serve as a powerful metaphor for the resilience of identity and the enduring nature of faith, as communities hold on to their stories across generations. The search for the lost tribes is far from over. As new archaeological discoveries are made and genetic research techniques become increasingly sophisticated, our understanding of these ancient mysteries continues to evolve. There are still many regions left unexplored, many oral histories yet to be documented, and many genetic markers waiting to be analyzed. In recent years, technological advancements in areas such as genetic genealogy and ancient DNA testing have opened up new possibilities for tracing ancient lineages. As more data is gathered, it is possible that we may one day be able to connect the dots between the various communities claiming descent from the lost tribes and the ancient Israelites of the Bible. Meanwhile, organizations and individuals around the world continue to advocate for the recognition and integration of these groups into the broader Jewish and Israelite family. The discussion has moved beyond simply debating the historical facts. It has become a dialogue about cultural recognition, religious identity, and the inclusivity of the Jewish people. The tale of the lost tribes is one of history's most enduring mysteries, a blend of legend, prophecy, and scholarly inquiry. Whether the tribes are rediscovered in our time or remain a tantalizing mystery, their story continues to captivate and inspire. It speaks to our universal search for roots, identity, and the quest to understand our place in history. In a world where cultures and traditions often vanish in the face of modernity, the persistence of these stories reminds us that some legacies never truly die. They live on through the songs we sing, the rituals we perform, and the stories we pass down. As we continue to unravel the threads of this ancient mystery, one thing is certain: the story of the lost tribes is far from over. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest explorations. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts. Do you think the lost tribes are still out there? And where do you think we should look next? Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep uncovering the mysteries of our world.